Okay. So we'll go ahead and do the Halo again. Nice shot, nice shot, nice shot. I appreciate you. Go ahead and jump ahead here. So this is actual George Washington, read by me. I go to where he speaks to the sixth meeting of Congress, the House of Representatives, his speech there. I try to do it to the best of my ability. Again, there are notes of documentation here that need to be noted. It needs to have the official seal of the government, of the U.S. government, as is mentioned. I think he mentioned that. Dude, I'm not arguing with you at all. It's unfortunate that you have these individuals, like the whole conspiracy theory. It's unfortunate that you have these individuals. I'm not taking no for an answer. So this is as real as it gets. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The signed document of my clear pardon for whatever it may be. Sweet. Okay. That's what I wanted. I'm not interested in that even a little bit. As soon as we get on, no. Make sure everybody knows about it. I think he wanted. It sucks that I had to be forced into a certain direction. Here they go with the heartbeat that I don't care about. But anyway, so we're gonna continue this. I guess I'll do the religious text. I need to get on here and look for some. I'll go ahead and favorite this. Okay, so I'm gonna favorite that. I'm gonna come down here. We're gonna go to this. The web. Are these people stupid? Are they mentally handicapped? Oh my goodness. Female. Nah, I'm good. Graduate theology.
Cool story.
You're out. Guys. Oh my gosh, I always wanted this. You're out. I was thinking Boston Library here, the BLC. So whenever my friend in the sky comes and lays you to waste, we'll go the Wellesley. I shouldn't. Einstein's theory of relativity. Do they have the original? The Holy Bible in Persian. Practical chemistry. Totem and taboo. Resemblance between the psychic lives. We could do that one. By Freud. Sigmund Freud. Totem and taboo. Resemblances between the psychic lives of savages and neurotics. I don't know. At the time of the moving to the new building. Here we go. The writings of George Washington from the original manuscript sources, 1745-1799, prepared under the direction of the United States George Washington Bicentennial Commission and published by authority of Congress. John C. Fitzpatrick, editor. Volume 38, General Index by David M. Matson, A through N, United States Government Printing Office, Washington, Boston University College of Liberal Arts Library. Sir George, this is what I've been waiting for. John Clement Fitzpatrick, 1876 to 1940. Dr. John Clement Fitzpatrick, editor of this definitive edition of the writings of George Washington, was born in Washington, D.C. on August 10, 1876 and educated in the city's schools. Although at first he looked to an artistic career, his whole professional life was spent within the walls of the Library of Congress, with which he became acquainted in 1897. at the time of the movement to the new building. So the problem I'm having is with the school is I'm alive and like I'm a real person and you can actually like contact me instead of sitting in the shadows stealing. So I have a life to live. I think Benjamin Franklin mentioned that he subscribed legally there. He would have, you understand? And I think in multiple instances, all the numbers of the viewers were there for you to count so I could be paid for it. And I'm not arguing about it. I'm not doing the dick show. Trying to assert authority when you are not. I'm not going to get in your face. You know what I mean? So it's this small group of the psychopaths that have me in a private server ignoring me. This I can see that it's being dealt with in its own manner. Again, it's a psychopath trying to drag the world down. There's no reason for them not to reach out at all at this point. So, as far as that school is concerned, I'm alive, I'm real. You never contacted me. You're sitting there on your own accord without consent. I don't know what little fantasy world you're living in here with paperwork. I would be the original, so I don't know where you're coming from at all. It seems to me like you're strong-arming people. Over here, you're bombing a desert. I mean, I see where you're going with that, but I'm just pointing out. The librarian at that period, John Russell Young, was his uncle. Within the newly established division of manuscripts, it was soon evident that archival work was his real forte, and he had a large share in the great development of the division and in the making of its records available to students. He was assistant chief of the division from 1912 to 1928, and at various periods acting chief. In 1929, he resigned in order to devote his time to his specialty, but he continued to have an office in division's rooms and to furnish searchers cheerfully and accurately with the information which his great knowledge of the material on the period of the American Revolution made so valuable. For Dr. Fitzpatrick became a preeminent authority upon the men who were responsible for it, and particularly upon George Washington, to whose career he devoted himself. This concentration, from which the chief deviation was an editorial excursion which made available the autobiography of Martin Van Buren, had notable results not only in the penetrating knowledge which Dr. Fitzpatrick gained, but also in the scholarly way in which he gave out the results of his research to other students. He edited several volumes of the complete journals of the Continental Congress, issued a calendar of the correspondence of Washington with that Congress, and with his military officers, brought out a final edition of Washington's diaries and a volume on his movements during colonial times. There were occasional short articles on sidelights of his main theme, and also a biography of Washington. That was essentially a study of the character of the man and the influences on it, rather than of the period which he led. But Dr. Fitzpatrick's interest was in the primary materials, rather than in the use of them as a basis for the secondary books. The valuable results of this specialization gained him several honorary degrees and membership in various learned societies, including the American Catholic Historical Association, of which he was president. Chosen by the George Washington Bicentennial Commission to edit a new complete compilation of the writings of George Washington from the original manuscript sources, he gave the last 10 years of more of his life to this crowning task, for which his whole earlier career, both as archivist and historical editor, had prepared him. When he died on February 10, 1940, 26 of the volumes had been issued, and the work on the final 11 volumes of the text practically completed, as they were all in final page proof except for a few items in the appendix, and merely awaited the necessary further appropriations for the printing and binding. Yeah, I do it with joy. So again, through me, they're able to write to themselves in the future. And they can tell themselves what to do. And so because I'm reading it, he knows what to do. So it is not free. This generation seems to be in trouble. What about us? What about these guys? No, you are not included in these guys.
Enemy team took the hill.
The A team? The rebellious ones here. I don't know what to tell you. You should have already reached out. You're playing games and I'm not going to play it. I definitely appreciate George Washington. I love it. Behind you, behind you, behind you. Don't mind me, I'm here. It's the history of the country. I'm honored to be a part of it. I enjoy doing it.
Hill ready. Enemy team took the hill.
Again, it's in private though. So that's the problem I'm having. I have to rely on other people when I should not have to. There's a debt owed. It has already been established. I'm not going to stop talking about the debt. Again, I enjoy doing this. We are genuine here. However, I'll be right back. Let me get my coffee. Okay, no. I'm about to exit. Yeah, I'm definitely exiting. That's how you know something's going on whenever you're running through the entire map and they still have time to shoot you because your teammates aren't shooting anybody. No, dude. No. I went upstairs here. Yeah, dude, that's after the third corner turning, and they're still shooting me. I'm good on that. Appreciate it. So this is what I've been waiting for. I was actually looking for this. When I go to Barnes & Noble, I'll look for George Washington. You see, like, New Age. You see all the new people, and it's like, I want to see George, the founder here. What is this? I don't know what any of that is. You know what I mean? Where's George at, bro? Introduction. The preparation of the indexes of this edition of the writings of George Washington has been a task apart from the editing of the text and from the beginning of the hands of the undersigned. The indexes of the separate volumes were prepared with special attention to their combination in a general index, so that these final volumes of the set are based upon the separate indexes. The material has, however, been gone over carefully and various changes and corrections made, including those due to the fact that occasional letters or notes were shifted after the index to the volume was made and without the knowledge of the indexer. Volume references are in blackface numeral and followed by a period. The general index is intended to supersede the separate indexes in all respects except volume 1. The editor compiled an alphabetical list of letters and other material in the text, and this list follows the general index. References to letters, too, in the separate indexes have therefore been excluded from the general index except in the cases where the letters do not appear in the list, mainly those in notes and not written by or for Washington. Okay. Where there are letters in the list to titles in the index and titles in the index are titles followed by an asterisk as a general reference to the list. 2. The calendaring of the general orders of the Continental Army and the orders of the Virginia Regiment being chronological in the separate indexes, it has been omitted from the general index, but the topical analysis of the material in the orders continues in this index.
Enemy team score.
Oh, so he has a list of everybody. Okay. Oh my gosh. I like how she put Mrs. Anthony Wayne Cook. All references to those who wrote the drafts or letters contained in the text are given in separate indexes, but in the general index reference is made in most cases to the first and last notations only. Acknowledgments to those who have furnished material or from those whose collection of materials comes are entered in the general index under the first reference only, and this is also the case of reference to general depositories or collections of manuscripts and to cited work. The analysis of this general index is of two parts.
Quit harassing me.
That which
I'm not
concerns
interested.
a particular person, especially George Washington, and that which concerns events, that is, the history of the period covered by the text. For the most part of the personal analysis is complete under the title of the person concerned, but there are occasional cross-references, and under the title Washington George, the cross-references are of major importance. Cross-references are a necessary feature of an analysis of historical material as extensive as that in this series of writings, especially an analysis that culminates in a few general titles, so that much of the material which is a part of a general title must be looked for under the cross-references which follow its items.
They thought it was
Occasionally,
a big
a
day.
cross-reference
Oh, I have the
is
arc.
inserted immediately after a somewhat general subtitle in the body of a title to show where the material is more particularly itemized. Also, in various cases, a group of references within a title having a general subtitle is itemized after that subtitle and a colon, the end of the group being indicated by an M dash. Occasionally, this is carried to the point of dividing the title into paragraphs. The analysis of the historical material culminates in the titles, economic conditions, geography, government, and social conditions. David M. Matson. Cambridge, Massachusetts, November 1st, 1943. The general index here. Okay. Gotcha. Again, we'll go ahead and skip all this. Don't mind me, boys. It's a lot of writing. It's a whole lot of writing, I'll be honest. I wonder if they had a typewriter at that time. They're using a quill and ink.
Ah, man, I really can't allow that to continue.
Score. Whiplash.
Star Wars, come on. I almost don't believe that.
Your team scored.
I guess that's all it is.
Enemy team scored.
Again, Colt.
In my sights.
I don't like these names over here.
General Index by David.
I don't like the names.
Identifier arc. Yeah, uh-huh.
Your team scored. Double kill.
I don't, you're not welcome. That's what I'm trying to tell you. With hostility, you're not welcome. I don't care about you crying baby. I assure you you're making it worse. I do not
There's no way
care.
that's all of it.
That's magnetism right there, dude.
Enemy team scored. Your team
I'm definitely figuring some stuff out here. These lines, the words, it's hard to explain, but without giving out too much.
Is
The
this all you
wording
wrote?
of things, the pronunciation,
The President of the United States.
it's physical.
War Office, March.
In my sights.
14th. Almost a couple days off, sir. As the cards
Enemy
work
team
for
score.
the frigates should be relative to their name and will require a length of time to accomplish, there being but a single here competent to work for the frigate building Philadelphia.
Your team scoring.
Pennsylvania.
No offense,
Time
Congress,
and
but I promise
Norfolk.
you I'm gonna do something about it.
The captains with Mr. Humphreys,
Team
the
scoring.
construction
More than a problem.
at
You have a
this
missile
place
disorder.
have represented
You're not
the
influencing anybody.
necessity of an early
Stop doing
designation
that.
of the names of the frigates. To facilitate your choices, I beg leave now to
Your team
lay
scoring.
before
Do not
a select
consent.
list of such as have occurred in my conversations with lettermen on the subject, with gentlemen on the subject. Timothy, you guys. Okay, so I need to find this. Rent a Farms? Okay. Writings of Washington. This is what I missed. The big one on this. The Writings of George Washington. Sweet, so we found it. Bunch of drunks. The Writings of George Washington. Writing of George Washington to the Secretary of State. Private. It is private, isn't it? Carlisle, October 11th, 1794, past 3 o'clock p.m. Dear sir, when I wrote to you yesterday, I did not expect to be in this village at this hour. But finding it difficult to get even part of the troops off that were ordered to march yesterday, I resolved to see the residue in motion today before I left this place myself. This dilatoriness does not proceed from any disinclination in the troops themselves to proceed, but for want of arrangement and system in some of the principal characters among the officers of the state, and this disjointed manner in which the former have arrived here. Those, however, which marched yesterday with what have followed today will make a respectable course.
Yeah, you're
An
lucky I haven't
officer of
like off
respectability
someone.
will be left to organize any detachments of this state's troops as they shall arrive, and to forward them
Truly.
on the day the troops came in on Compy Corps and are badly clothed. I had scarcely dispatched my letter to you yesterday when the commissioners or deputies, Finley and Reddick, from the insurgent counties arrived. No, my public letter written by Colonel Hamilton will inform you of the result. I believe they are scared. No. All the papers which may be deemed necessary and proper to accompany my address to Congress at the opening of the session I pray you to have ready, for there will not be time to do it between my arrival in the city and the meeting of that body. From present appearances, it is not likely I shall proceed beyond Bedford. My return to Philadelphia, even in that case, can be but a day or two before the first Monday in next month. Sincerely and affectionately, S.C. To the Secretary of State, Private, Fort Cumberland, October 16, 1794. Dear Sir, your letters of the 11th instance were received this morning at my stage 15 miles short of this place. We arrived here in the afternoon of this day and found a respectable force assembled from the state of Virginia and Maryland. I am informed that about 1,500 more from the former state either is or will be at Frankfurt, 10 miles on our left, this evening or tomorrow at furthest. Nothing more precise than you were informed of in my last. From Carlisle has been heard from insurgent counties. All accounts agree, however, that they are much alarmed at the serious appearances of things, the truth of which I expect to be better informed of tomorrow or next day by persons whom I have sent amongst them and whose return may be looked for about that time. I do not expect to be there more than 2 days, thence to Bedford, where as soon as matters are arranged and a plan settled, I shall shape my course for Philadelphia. But not because the impertinence of Mr. Bach or his correspondents has undertaken to pronounce that I cannot constitutionally command the army whilst Congress are in session. I believe the eyes of all the well-disposed people of this country will soon be open, and that they will clearly see the tendency, if not the design of the leaders of these self-created societies. As far as I have heard them spoken of, it is with strong reprobation. I should be extremely sorry, therefore, Mr. M. from any cause whatsoever should get entangled with them or their politics. As the speech will be composed of several distinct subjects, my wish was that each of these SHG received its final dress. Subject, however, to revision, that part especially which relates to the insurrection and the proceedings thereupon. The subjects themselves will naturally point to the order in which they ought to follow each other, and the throwing them into it cannot at any time be more than the work of a few minutes after the chills are all provided. It will appear evident, on a moment's reflection, that the continual interruptions in a militia camp, where everything is
Hey, I promise you I'm doing something about it. I assure you.
Speech in a correct or handsome garb, nor will there be time
Shut
to
up.
do it after my
You're
return.
not involved.
My mind is so perfectly convinced that if these self-created societies cannot be discountenanced, that they will destroy the government of this country, that I have asked myself whilst I have been revolving on the expense of inconvenience of drawing so many men from their families and occupations as I have seen on their march, where would be the impropriety of glancing at them in my speech by some such idea as the following. That however distressing this expedition will have proved to individuals and expensive to the country, the pleasing spirit which it has drawn forth in support of law and government will immortalize the American character and is a happy presage. That future attempts of a certain description of people will not, though accompanied by the same industry, so
Okay, then I'll go ahead and
distress and disrupt the public tranquility will prove equally abortive. I have formed no precise ideas of what is best to be done or said on this subject, nor have I time to express properly what has occurred to me as I am now writing at an hour when I ought to be in bed, because all the day from business or ceremonious introductions I have been unable to do it sooner.
Remove them.
I
This is
am
that
NC,
simple.
the secretary.
No, moron.
Private.
Stay the fuck away
Fort
from me.
Cumberland,
I am
October
not
18th,
involved.
1794. Dear Sir, I have directed
You start
Mr.
screaming at you,
Dandridge
dude. No.
to acknowledge the receipt of your public dispatches of the 13th instant.
We are not, I assure
whilst
you.
I enclose
Get the fuck
those
out.
of our envoy to you, which came under cover to me.
I want the
in a
art
letter
taken
from
away.
him
I want them
dated the
out.
5th of August,
I am not involved
the
with these
following
dumbasses.
PS. I shall enclose with this my dispatches for Mr. Randolph. If the William Penn should be stopped by a belligerent vessel, they will respect a letter directed to you more than one directed to him. In opening it, I find duplicates only.
Oh, that's where I stopped it. So he basically pardoned me of any transgression that you would have. Let me get out the second one that I had here. G Washington. Okay, sweet. Now that I have the signed document of my clear pardon for whatever it may be. Okay, stop lying. That's basically what he's saying. Yeah, I'm having trouble with that.
All the
Yeah,
details
they're
that
definitely
you
not
did
welcome.
there in order to try to achieve your goal that you still have not achieved and now are not going to achieve. Okay, I'm not arguing. And that ARC is recording this MK Ultra bullshit. I just want you to understand you're not getting out of that. You know, the whole free thing. You understand? So this little girl who's behind the scene, and I'm telling you, it's more than lust. I'm not putting up with it, and that school, you can shut it down now. I'm not talking to George, I'm talking to people alive today. Before I get into this, George, they need to stop doing that. They're using plasma to talk to me. And
You can get as
pressure.
mad as you want. I promise you're not getting what
You
you
guys
want.
know all about pressure, don't you? Pressure cookers. Now that we're in Boston, don't you?
I've won. I'm gonna
I
sit
can
on
get
my
into
ass.
battle styles.
Over here, above Russia, I'm gonna sit here, you bitch, until you understand.
You guys
me.
aren't getting out of it. You can close the school down. You're not welcome there.
Goodbye. See ya.
As first written,
tell everybody else about it. I don't give a
American
fuck.
character,
I'm not
notwithstanding
interested.
infinite pains which have been taken by certain
You're not
descriptions
involved.
of men
You're
and
in debt, is
incendiary
what you are. Stay the fuck
writers
away from me.
to disturb the public mind and lead it astray.
I'm gonna
impress
give
it
you
with the
5
most
seconds.
Unfavorable ideas of its government. John Jay's letter in the Washington papers. You clear the air on that one. You're talking about the pot. So first of all, you lied on paper. I don't know what you have going on there. Second of all, you're putting an attachment onto those people that's separate, which is actually confusing the general public. It has nothing to do with that. You're using like a buoyancy from a ship and attaching it to the cell tower and then shooting it back at them. You're following them around door to door without telling anybody. And then now here I come along and now you're trying to get loud about it. No. In court, I win this one. Here's my, here it is right here. You're a fraud is what he's saying. And here's my signature. I second that. I'm the first president. Rudolph over here. Randolph. Did he run, doll? Again, it's being recorded. As you sit there with it in your hand. You're not the one using it, I assure you. No, you aren't, dumbass. How much you want to bet me on it? You should see this shit. I want to see it on that end. I want to see what it looks like. It's some crazy shit. It's definitely plasma is what you're doing. Lucky for me. Thanks to troops. His private letter to me of the date above, and which he wishes may be considered as confidential, which and the possible risk prevents my sending it to you by the returning express, is a very pleasing one, as it is more indicative of a hope and expectation of general good success in his mission than any that had come from him before. He conceives that there is no indisposition in the present ministry to settle the several matters to dispute upon they conceive to be just at liberal terms. But what these may appear to be, when they come to close discussion, no one can prognosticate to give, and I presume will be the result. I am led to draw more favorable inferences from the letter, however, than from any of these preceding ones. I am and see. That's what I'm talking about. Inferences. They have an attachment there. It's the Navy. You're attached to the brain there, buddy. I believe it would be like Ninja Turtles, the brain dude. I forgot his name. The buoyancy. Oh, you can get mad all you want. I'm not going to stop until you're removed. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm more important than you, I promise. I'm not going to stop until you're removed. You want to fight, you got it, bitch. Get the fuck off the goddamn pressure. They're messing with the vertigo. They'll do it in my room at night. The last couple days, they've changed it. They've taken the radio wave off the outlet. But, however, you're definitely messing with vertigo with that cell tower. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's being recorded, dude. That fruit of the poisonous tree, like, I have it here. So, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. You could really tell it this morning when I woke up and started playing Halo after I took my hit. Normally, it's not like that. You could tell by the vertigo, the buoyancy there. It's a little distraught. I'm never like that. It could be that map, but I mean, still, that's a sure sign. Get the attachment off of him. We're not doing with this masked bullshit because you want it to be this way when it is not this way. I can prove otherwise. Wagner. Now we're step by step here. I'm gonna move into Wagner on my tailbone and my feet. What are we doing here as you sit there and bomb your men? Well, who are we bombing? Because that's the enemy over here, Wagner. I'm more important than you are. The problem we're having here is the people that are joining that group, as he's mentioned, that you should not be there with those bombs. The wrong, again, what's being, the attraction there, the people being attracted. I'm more important than you are as I sit here with George and solidify your country's future.
Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball.
Get Wagner off the internet.
We have the
I want
ball.
them removed. They're not part of this group at all. They're not in this at all.
Why did you highlight
Get them out. It's indefinitely, permanently.
Essentially, they're on the spinal
That is
cord.
the enemy. Get it off my spinal cord.
No, there he is.
Citizens, you have permission to open fire on
Yeah,
these
definitely.
motherfuckers. Get Wagner off the spinal cord.
They're arguing about it either.
It comes and goes. My alien friend comes in and like whoops your ass from time to time. That's part of it. Again, like I said, over the last couple of days, you're definitely making changes. There's definitely something going on there. However, right in this moment, get it off. That right at the bottom, right down here, the pulse.
Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball.
I don't know what you're doing there, or who made that decision whatsoever.
We have the ball.
Keep going there, all the way. Remove it entirely.
Ball dropped.
To Governor Henry Lee, Bedford, October 20th, 1794.
Enemy has the
And I have a feeling I know who that dog whistle is too. That propaganda speaker that I can't hear. I wonder who that is in my nasal. You gotta fight. Here it is. I promise you're not getting out of it. In this life and the next. Motherfucker. Get off of my fucking account. So many different things to call it. Get off me, period.
ball incoming.
If you're on me, you're on other people too. There's the enemy, right there. Rostov. I got it, thanks. I know what's going on. Here, let me help you out here. Henry Lee. Sir, being about to return to the seat of government, I cannot take my departure without conveying through you to the army under your command the very high sense I entertain of the enlightened and periodic zeal for the Constitution and the laws which has led them cheerfully to quit their families and homes and the comforts of private life to undertake and thus far to perform a long and fatiguing march, filibuster, and to encounter and endure the hardships and privations of a military life. The draft is in the writing of Bartholomew Dandridge. On October 18th, Dandridge wrote to the Secretary of State, by information which has been received through several channels, it appears that the people in the western counties of Pennsylvania are at length convinced of the approach of the army and are truly alarmed at the consequences which may attend its passage through their country. The President will leave this place, Fort Cumberland, early tomorrow morning on his way to Bedford, where 'tis likely he will be detained 3 or 4 days. Dandridge's letter is recorded in the letter book in the Washington papers. Also, the commander-in-chief of the militia army marching against the insurrectionists in western Pennsylvania.
No, you go to
The insurrectionists, yeah, they would be.
Raven Rock, the separation on the
Their conduct hitherto
bunker.
affords a full assurance
The piano
that their
roll they're doing.
perseverance will be equal to their zeal,
Starting to pick up on
and
the
that they will
patterns.
continue to perform with alacrity
Why are you
whatever
here?
the full accomplishment of the object of their march shall render necessary.
Enemy has
No citizens of the U states can never be engaged in a service more important to the country. It is nothing less.
I
than
could
to
assume that has to
consolidate
do
and
with
preserve the
testosterone
legacy of
and
that
estrogen.
revolution, which at much
have the
expense
ball.
Like a
of blood
beaker.
and treasure constituted us a free and independent nation.
Start working pumps on a system.
It is to give the
Like a
world an
robot.
illustrious example of the utmost consequence to the
That's
cause
where you're
of
at, isn't it?
mankind.
Ball dropped.
I experience a heartfelt
Oh,
satisfaction
no.
in the conviction that the conduct of the troops throughout will be in
Start to
every
pick up on your
respect
patterns, dude.
favorable to the goodness of the cause and the magnitude of the stake. There is but one point on which I think it proper to add a special recommendation. It is this, that every officer and soldier will constantly bear in mind that he comes to support the laws, and that it would be peculiarly unbecoming in him to be in any way the infractor of them. That the essential principles of a free government confine the provinces of the military to these two objects. First, to combat and subdue all who may be found in arms in opposition to the national will and authority. Secondly, to aid and support the civil magistrate in bringing offenders to justice, which I would be the civil magistrate. The dispensation of this justice belongs to the civil magistrate, and let it ever be our pride and our glory to leave Cindy, the sacred deposit there, unviolated. Convey to my fellow citizens in arms my warm acknowledgments for the readiness with which they have seconded me in the most delicate and momentous duty the chief magistrate of a free people can have to perform, and add my affectionate wishes of their health, comfort, and success. They have the right to remain silent, and you have the right to arrest them. Get them off my land. Quit revving up your engine at me. Random stranger who I don't know who's watching me in the pride of my home. Get the fuck out. You can arrest him at any time. There's the enemy right there. I'm not arguing about it either. I promise you will comply with me.
Ball dropped.
You can arrest him at any time. Here's the enemy right here.
I can do
This
it too.
is the one that we're going to deal
Enemy has the
with.
ball.
Again.
No,
Stranger.
dude. No. Could my further presence with them have been necessary or compatible with my civil duties at the period when the approaching commencement of a session of Congress particularly urges me to return to the seat of government? It would not have been withheld. In leaving them, I have... See, that's the thing. They never approached. That's the thing about it. They did the exact opposite.
Bad
In
leadership,
leaving them,
dude.
I have the less regret, as I know I commit them to an able and faithful director. Here I am, and that this director
Hey,
will
I'm
be
glad
able,
you got richer for it.
will be
Thank you.
ably and faithfully seconded by all. I had to do it on my own, and they're still not doing it. They're still attacking. You can get this fucker off the road. That's the enemy right there. Period. Dismissal of militia. There you go. Get out. The attractiveness there.
Yeah, they're dismissed. They're refusing.
I don't do that
They
shit.
are refusing. Get them out.
I'm not
I
a
want them out.
dumbass.
I want them out. This country is a maniac. I promise you. You fucking have... I don't even know where to begin with you. I'm good on that. Ignore this. Dude, woe is this world, but I'm not backing off these motherfuckers until they are either in jail or dead. You stupid motherfucker. I'm definitely not dealing with this damn helium balloon on my fucking body. Painting me in a bad light. And you're done. So here's what's about to happen. I assure you. Got it? Got it? They're dismissed. I think you're a fucking moron. I can't stand that shit. I don't think it's funny. You're not my friend. Country boy, I don't like anything about you as far as that is concerned. You are more than arrogant for no reason at all. You have no right to be. The truth. You're definitely willing to fight. I'll give you that. That attractiveness. Again, you out in that field, and you're lost in translation in that field. I assure you. To the Secretary of the Treasury, with an asterisk. From the letter book copy in the Washington papers, the entire letter was published in General Lee's orders of October 21st, 1794. Colonel Francis Monchez, Governor Richard Howe of New Jersey. Hartley's Tuesday evening, October 21st, 1794. Hartle's Ford. Dear Sir, from Colonel Monchez, information there are detachments of militia a considerable distance in the rear. Composed in part of those who march was designed to be arrested. He adds many of them are illy clad. We're not
This
smiling
being the case,
with you,
it appears to me that an expense without an equivalent advantage would result from bringing
Nah, it's
them
too late for
forward,
I win. I assure
and
you.
that the clothes
I'm
which
not
they
stopping.
must draw to fit them for service would actually be thrown away. Under this view of the matter and a
Go
full
ahead and remove my problem.
persuasion that the army which is already advanced is more than competent to an opposition that can be given by the insurgents, I request that you would advise with Governors Mifflin and Howe, after receiving the fullest information from Monchez, and cause all, which in your opinions cannot be up in time, all who are inadequately clothed in the rear, and in a word, all who do not upon mature consideration of circumstances appear to be essential to return, that the country may not be unnecessarily burthened with the clothing, pay, and rations of them. No, you owe me money. Yeah, I'm not, they're random strangers. I'm not joining that group. I'm not involved with that whatsoever on camera, and I'm not going to be involved with that whatsoever on camera.
King of the Hill.
I don't know what else you want me to say on that. We are not stubborn here. It's final. The word is final. I don't know what else to tell you there. You can throw your fit all you want. But as far as I'm concerned, you're in debt. And I would pay the debt if I were you. And I don't mean $10. I have nothing to do with that. You can fuck off. I'm not going to. I do not like it.
Incoming.
The thing not to do.
Hill
I don't deal with scarecrows. You know what I mean? With the clothing, pay, and rations of them.
Enemy
These sewing
team
machines,
took the hill.
magistrates, the sewers. They put their foot down, they voted. The seamstresses. Open all letters of a public nature which may come to the army addressed to me, and such are in the military line and relating to the business you are upon, and over to the commanding general I am, etc. To the Secretary of the Treasury. Susquehanna writes Ferry.
Why do I keep
October
getting the
26,
same
1794.
dude?
Dear Sir, a little advance of this yesterday afternoon, I met and expressed with the letters herewith enclosed for you, with others for the army, with which I have directed him to proceed. Thus far I have proceeded without accident to man, horse, or carriage, although the letters has had wherewith to try its goodness, especially in the ascending the North Mountain from Skinner's by a wrong road. That is, by the old road, which never was good, and is rendered next to impassable by neglect. I heard great complaints of Gurney's corps and some of the artillery along the road to Strasbourg. There I parted.
I mean, I'll consider it an act of treason,
places
as far as I'm
they did not
concerned.
leave a plate, a spoon, a glass, or a knife. And this owing in a great measure, as I was informed, to their being left without officers. At most, if not all, the encampments I found and burnt up. I pray you to mention this to Governor Mifflin, and indeed to the Quartermaster General, with a request to the former that the most pointed orders may be given and every precaution used to prevent the like on the return of the army. If the officers from impatience to get home should leave their respective commands, in a word, if they do not march with and keep the soldiers in the ranks and from straggling or loitering behind, the borders on the road will sustain inconceivable damage from disorderly troops, whose names will be execrated for, and the service disgraced by such conduct. There were some letters put into the hands of Governor Lee, which it would be well for you to repossess yourself of. Among these were two of Missouri Lynn, Mr. Ross to you, and Messenger Finley and Reddick to me.
Yeah, I'm
Occasion
good.
may
Unless I'm
require
gonna win,
them.
just like outright.
I
I'm
rode
good on
yesterday
that.
afternoon through the rain from Yorktown to this place and got twice.
Or you
in
can
the
stop
height of a
talking to me,
hung,
period.
And deployed by the means on the rocks in the middle of the Susquehanna.
Don't plan ahead.
Susquehanna, but I did not feel half as much for my own situation as I did on account of the troops on the mountains and of the effect the rains might have
They
on
can
the
stop
roads
at
through
any
the
time.
glades. Yeah, I can tell. I do not intend further, right here on the nose, I do not intend further than Lancaster today, but on Tuesday, if no accident happens, I expect to be landed in the city of Philadelphia. My best wishes attend you and all with you. Yours sincerely, P.S. I hope you'll be enabled by hook or by crook to send B and H together with a certain Mr. Guthrie to Philadelphia for their winter quarters. To the Secretary of the Treasury, Philadelphia, October 31st, 1794. Dear Sir, by pushing through the rain, which fell more or less on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I arrived in this city before noon on Tuesday, without encountering any accident on the road, or anything so unpleasant than the badness of the ways. After the rains had softened the earth that had made them susceptible of deep impression of the wheels. How you passed through the glades after the various accounts we had received of them in such wet weather, I am at a loss to conjecture, but am extremely anxious to know, as I also am to learn the operation of the army and the state of condition of it since. Nothing important or new has been lately received from our ministers abroad, and although accounts from London to the 1st of September and from Ireland of still later date have been inserted in the gazettes, they are not precise enough to be detailed in a letter. In general, however, the French continue to be successful by land, and it might be added by sea also, for they are capturing a great number of British merchantmen. Nor does the fate of Robespierre seem to have given more.
Maybe I won't read this for the betterment of the country. Because you're not welcome here. This is where you're at. You understand me? I will kill you over it. The debt that is owed. You can get it. Okay, you can get as mad as you want. I promise you I will kill you over it.
than a momentary stagnation to their affairs. The armies rejoice at it, and the people are congratulating one another on the occasion. Mr. Monroe is arrived in France and has his reception in the midst of the convention at Paris, but no letter has been received from him. Few members have yet come to town. Tomorrow, I presume, will bring many. The papers say Mr. Trumbull is elected to the Senate in the room of Mr. Mitchell, who has resigned. But who has or will supply his place in the other house is not mentioned. Husbands and the other prisoners were safely lodged in the city on Wednesday afternoon. Press the governors in California to be appointed and ordering the officers under their respective commands to march back with their respective corps and to see that inhabitants meet with no disgraceful insults or injuries from them. The Secretary of War will, I expect, say something respecting the deposit of the arms and public stores in proper places. To him, therefore, I shall refer. Jonathan Trumbull and Stephen M. Mitchell of Connecticut. Excuse me for a second. Mrs. Hamilton and your family were very well yesterday afternoon. Your letter of the 23rd has been read. I am always and affectionately yours.
Illegal cult. No. Problem I'm having with you motherfuckers. Stay away from me. So I need official documentation away from these morons. I'm getting more and more angry, dudes. You can keep doing this all you want. It's not changing, dude. Stop talking. Can I play the game without some goddamn moron sitting there? Or I will kill you, dude. All the way to the top. I will kill you over this stupid shit. Get the fuck away from me. Earth, get away from the goddamn moron. I'm gonna sit here and I'm not gonna finish this until the goddamn retard is out of my fucking account. You understand me? I want them out entirely, indefinitely. You are not a protector. Stay the fuck away from me. I do not know who you are. You are a fraud.
For nor opportunity of writing to you since I did it from
Ark.
Till my return.
I'm not playing that game with
you. Which happened
you.
on Tuesday last. In the meantime, I received your several letters of the 28th of September and 5th, 17th, and 27th.
I'm done with them. I'm not putting up with their shit. The answer is no.
Accident I met with in June last prevented my writing about my farms when I was at last at home. I should have been very glad to have made another visit to it in the course of last month, knowing if I did not do it then, it would not be in my power to do it before April, as Congress will more than probably set till March, and the roads during that month will be in no condition to travel. The perfect confidence, however, which I place in your care, judgment, and integrity, makes me quite easy under the disappointment which I should not have been if my affairs were in the hands of a person of whom I did not entertain the same favorable opinion. By looking to the letters which from time to time I have written you, and to the written details I give you of my plans when you first entered on my business, you will, without any additional direction to them in this place, see what my views are, and can be at no loss to carry them into effect the ensuing year. To introduce system and a regular course of crops, to introduce grass where and when proper, to make meadows and hedges, to recover my
and it
fields
dropped
from the exhausted
Get the
and
Oval Office
gullied
off of
state in which many of them are.
I'm not going to
improve my
stop.
stock and to get into a way of establishing large dairies and turning that stock to profitable uses, which may be the case so near as my estate lies to Alexandria, Georgetown, and the federal city, and to make much hay, which will always be in demand and command a good price, are much more desirable object with me than to push the best of my fields out of the regular
So either you
course,
can listen to
with
me
a view
or
to
I will
increase
kill you.
the next
End
or
of
any other
discussion.
year's crops of grain. I know full well that by picking and
So,
sowing
ladies,
fields,
the
I
next
should be
time
able
you
for
touch
a
my
year or
dick,
two
I assure you,
to make large crops of grain. But
as
I
I
know
sit there,
also
Taylor,
that by doing
I'm gonna have to
so,
name you by
I shall in a
names.
few years make nothing and find
You're
my
under
land
arrest. I just
ruined.
want you to understand me. I am not going to back off here. I'm not backing off, ladies. As they sit there and try to reverse. Do you see what they did there? You are under arrest. If you do not comply with me, I will kill you. You understand? Oh, William, the eyebrow there. Go ahead and go fight it out. I've won this battle. I'll sit here on my ass right above Russia, you fucking retard. How much you want to bet me? So, I'll be taking my money, my property. Lady, you are under arrest. Whoever has this arc, and I'm pointing in that right direction, ain't I? Pantheon. The answer's no, motherfucker. Ain't gonna do a goddamn thing about it either. You're not gonna do a goddamn thing about it either. I think I believe they're impeaching you over the attacking Yemen, as he mentioned this, the grass and other things. Oh, also over here with the towers and the red plants that I've mentioned previously. I believe the corn that I grew was affected here recently. I'm not backing off, you motherfucker. You're on my property. It's my money. Earth, you have permission to open fire on them. Or I can open fire on you. Which would you prefer? Which one would you prefer? Which I have been doing. Here's the paperwork that solidifies my spot on the earth. Got it? So, lady, the next time you fuck with my dick, I promise you will be dead. So, let's go ahead and not do this over here. You understand? Think I'm joking about it. They were dismissed. Quit jumping in on my stream. You're not welcome. No, you're not. Earth, you have permission to open fire on these people behind the screen who refuse to get the fuck away from me. You understand? That's what it's like. I want them out. Cut that wire. I'm not going to allow you to enjoy this moment, is what I'm saying. You pissed me off, motherfucker. Stay silent. They folded. Yeah, if I were them, I would fold, definitely. I refuse to do magic, though. I'd rather do Halo than magic, regardless. He told me no, and so basically George is coming in and giving you a lashing. Say, okay, I shouldn't have to be dealing with this.
So what he just did to me is what George is doing to William, which is the reason. And it's really not okay. That Wagner group there, Congress, it's really not cool. He's basically telling you that you owe me money and I shouldn't have to deal with this asking. His plan, the plan there. Anyway, I'm very sorry to hear of the loss of your daughter, but as it was an event long expected, you must have been prepared for the stroke. The country everywhere that I have been or heard from has been uncommonly sickly the past summer and to the present moment. The ague and fever has been sorely felt, where has never known to be before together with other complaints. The death of Paris is a loss, that of Jupiter the reverse. You have not informed me in any of your letters which have come to hand whether you have engaged Pine or any other for the mansion house, or whether McCoy continues another year or is to be replaced by any other. I did not expect much from James Donaldson as an overlooker of my carpenters when I engaged him, and for the reason observed to you, that if my nephew, Colonel William Washington of Westmoreland, should have engaged the man I wrote to him about to keep both, would be attended with no disadvantage, but I have not heard or received a syllable from my nephew in answer to my letters. Hence I infer they never got to his hands, and the demand for workmen at the federal city is such, and their wages consequently so high, that if Donaldson as an overlooker should prove incompetent, I know not how or where you will get supplied. If he understands what he professes to have been bred to, and to sober and industrious, he may prove a very useful man to me, although he is unfit to have the care of my carpenters. But what have you done with him? If Green's family still occupy the house, by my agreement with him, he is entitled to the use of that house and garden, and may consider it as a breach of contract to be deprived of it. What, then, is to be done with the other family? I cannot bear the thought of adding to the distress I know they must be in turning them adrift, and it would be as disagreeable to let them come into the part of the greenhouse adjoining the
Yeah, I'm really just not feeling it.
Their habits are not good, and to
At
mix
all.
them among the Negroes would be attended with many evils as it respected themselves, and no good as it respected me.
Lost the
It would be better, therefore, on all accounts, if they were removed to some other place, even if one was to pay the rent provided it was low, or make some allowance towards it. Donaldson and family will get disgusted by living among the Negroes if he's still in the greenhouse. I am glad to hear that your fodder was got in good time, and that there was a good deal of it. Also that your corn is likely to yield well from the gathering you have made of it. It is to be regretted
I'm not
that
really
you
feeling it.
last sown
Like, at all.
what wheat.
I'm
looks
glad I read
so
it, but-
indifferently, especially the fallow field at Dogue Run. Get all the buckwheat out of the straw as soon as you can and put away securely. Letting me know the quantity, the straw will, I presume, make good litter. Thank you. I am very sorry to hear that the fly is getting into the wheat. This makes it necessary to get it out of the straw as quick as possible, and either to grind it into flour or sell it in the grain as soon as possible. To know which of these is most for my benefit, or 100 bushels of neither your best nor worst wheat to be sent to the mill, cleaned as it would and ought to be for sale. Let this 100 bushels be sent to the mill and manufactured, then see whether
Again,
the different articles which is made from it at the Alexander
Specific
prices,
checkpoints
the
that you
brawn
keep
and
trying to
feed,
make in the arc.
justly rated.
I'm trying to
is
get rid of
worth,
it,
or
and I'm
would
pointing
fetch
them
more
out.
than the unground wheat.
No,
at the same
you are
time.
being
I
removed, whether
appreciate
you want to
but
be
that's
or not,
definitely-
and it is
that's
going to
not
be by
gonna
force.
If it is
I
not,
assure you.
I encounter all the trouble
I'm more than
and
angry,
expense of the
motherfucker.
manufactory to a loss. I have requested this experiment several times to
So
be
let's
made
go ahead
by
and get
your
it. There you go.
predecessors in
There-
my
there he
business,
is right
but
there.
never could get it
You can go ahead and get them
satisfactorily
out.
made, and have strong reasons.
You have
to
permission to
believe
open fire
that
on
my
them.
wheat for several years back would have sold for more than
Hey, you
a
want into
far
heaven,
all
this is what you're going
sorts.
to do. I promise
With
you, this
the
motherfucker's
addition
going to
of
be
the
dragged out
brand,
the fucking
shorts,
home
and
by the neck.
palings,
I
the
assure you.
fact, with respect to the last crop, you may, I can see,
Get 'em out. They're not welcome.
with certainly by having recourse to the
I
mill
don't like these
brooks.
checkpoints, these highlights
These
that you
will
keep
or
doing.
ought to shew all the wheat that had been received.
Got it?
And all the flour and other articles which had been
I
delivered.
refuse. I'm not removing it. No.
Rating then the different sorts of flour sold and used at what is actually.
Yeah, it's sad for the people that are involved with that arc. I'm going to be violent about it too. It's not a joke, I assure you. I am going to be violent. Oh, really?
Oddball.
Actually fetched and fixing a proper price on the brand and shorts with some allowance for the tailings givings you the total amount of the wheat after it is manufactured. Then see what the whole quantity of wheat which the mill had received would amount to, at what would be deemed the curt or median price of wheat or Alexandria last season. This would give you the aggregate amount in
It's
both
getting
cases,
old.
and choose the difference of the two upon a large scale. First of all,
It's psychotic, is what it
you
is.
never know what you're gonna get from each plant. So I mean, the yield there, you're not gonna know that.
Enemy has the ball.
It's a plant, so it's coming from scratch. You're basically paying for electricity. As far as you are concerned, you don't even have any of that. You're going off the sun, so it's basically free of charge. It's coming out the ground. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay expenses for like electricity, indoor growing, water. I mean, you're natural here. Step by step. I mean, it's easy. It's not hard. I appreciate you, but I mean, none of this is gonna get done. If I were to bring, they would sit there and argue.
Okay, so this isn't test days. You keep running
Even
in
though
a
it's clear as
circle
day,
on a
I don't
guinea
know what to
pig.
tell
You
you.
understand? I will kill you.
Go get some coffee.
This isn't
I'm
celebration
almost
for
out
you,
of coffee.
dumbass.
Mention that.
Dumbass, this is not your celebration.
I appreciate you. I
Shut
appreciate
the
the
fuck
effort
up.
being put in there.
I'm getting more than angry
I mean,
with
that's
you.
not all it comes.
You
down
are not
to, though.
invited here.
I would love to do that. That's definitely the end goal, but the roadblock, especially to me.
Well, I'm talking about the
specifically,
cult.
as
Get
you
out,
jumped
dude.
ahead. That's the thing.
I'm
about
not
it.
involved with your
You're
ass.
An idiot. I don't even know where to begin with you, and I'm damn sure not arguing about it, especially with the paperwork in front of me.
Ball dropped.
Clearly.
Enemy halfway to victory.
Are all the cabins as well as the quarters at Union Farm fixed
No!
in the lane
Shut
opposite to the
up!
officer's house? I fear the season is too late to go into fresh daubed cabins. IMNCA. P.S. By not hearing from you yesterday, I presume you were on the eastern shore. Talking about my picture? That's the hard one. I'm having trouble with the side to match up the cliff.
Ball dropped. We have the ball.
With the his depths on high.
Ball dropped.
Okay, they're done.
We have the ball.
I don't know what to tell you, ladies.
Then get him off.
I'll be taking my debt first. I don't know what that is. I have to deal with shit like
Get
that.
him off, or I will kill you, dude. End of discussion. Get off, or you will be killed, you dumb motherfucker. I assure you, you are not anything that you say. Now, we're not kidding with you. Shut the fuck up. I will kill you. End of discussion here. Nip this in the butt real quick. That's sad that I have to deal with this on the first president here. I mean what I say. You're not welcome here. You're not invited. And you're pissing me off.